Right. Good evening. We're coming live from Brisbane, Queensland. Just gone past 7 o'clock. And our guest tonight is actually in the morning, 10 o'clock, in the southwest of England, in a place called Bristol. And that's our good mate and good friend, Andrena Forrest. And she's going to be giving us a really introduction on soul tones, the voice, and of course my my offsider, my cohort, none other than Julie Chai. So it's going to be a top show tonight. And before we bring Andrena on, I've just want to bring a gentleman that you'll all be familiar with. And let's go with our man.
Dr. Spock, how are you?
Listen to this. This is very important. This is part of the show.
There are other forms of intelligence on Earth, Doctor. Only human arrogance would assume the message must be meant for man.
Suggesting the transmission is meant for a life form other than man.
At least a possibility, Admiral. The President did say it was directed at Earth's oceans.
Uhura, can you modify the probe signals accounting for density and temperature and salinity factors?
I can try, sir. I think I have it.
And this is what it would sound like underwater.
Sir?
Fascinating. If my suspicion is correct, there can be no response to this message. Excuse me.
Where are you going?
To test my theory.
All right, so that was Wales.
But couldn't hear it.
Oh, my apologies. So
it was
sorry.
too quiet, so I don't know. Obviously, I heard the whales at the end.
Oh, my apologies. I thought it was coming through loud and clear here. Maybe I just needed to talk it up. Listen, very post in the whole Star Trek franchise was the fact that we're not alone. Yeah. And to think that us humans have got full scope on everything certainly changed in the dramatic fashion with this particular piece from Star Trek. And of course, it deals with frequencies. Tesla talked about frequencies. And Andrena, you've made a journey following this path of, well, frequencies, but also how important it is for voice and how you can tone to actually restore and repair your own physical and emotional body. And if I'm not mistaken, you learnt that from a Cherokee medicine woman some years ago.
I did. Joy was my good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever you are. Let me think, 2010, 11, through my sister doing a frequency workshop in Glastonbury, she met up with and brought a lady called Joy over from America. And she was very much into whales and dolphins, the same as me. So we connected as well. And then the following year, when I was going back to see my family, she said, I'd love you to come over. I'd love to show you the sacred site. And then she said, oh, if you get this gadget, they don't make them anymore. I'll show you how to do the voice. Well, I didn't really know what she was talking about. So I thought, well, that sounds interesting. So, and it's funny because she said you'll only get them on Amazon or eBay. And she said there'd be about £150. So I went in on Amazon, I think, and there was one, and it was £20 or $20. And I thought, well, this can't be right. So I connected with the guy and Joy, and yes, it was. And apparently his wife is a musician, and he'd got rid of all her guitars and everything like that, and threw the voice box in for £20. Well, along I came. Thank you very much. So, and he wasn't far away from Joy, so he shipped it to Joy. And then when I went over, she, with a chart and a microphone, she had me going around just checking people's voices and seeing what notes were coming through and what the ones that weren't, that needed strengthening. And then I'd say, well, do you suffer from depression? Have you got stomach issues and all of the different things? And everybody would be going, yes, yes, and frightened to speak up and all of these things. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So she took me through some exercises, and so she'd go, right, tone A, and I'm going, A, and she's going, open your mouth, and I'm going, A. She said, for God's sake, where's your power? Where's your voice? Well, then it was not as powerful as it is now. So obviously, so I went away and I played with the tones and practice, and I did it on a few people and sort of let it die down again. And then I went to see her the following year, so I thought I'd better do my homework again. And so over the time, I've made it my own. I've made well, it was a CD, but it's an MP3 now of the tones, so people can just tone away. But I just love it. It's just taking you into a deeper space into yourself, because if you just sit there and close your eyes and then you start toning, it just takes you into, brings you back into who you are, not, you're not outside of yourself. So so I've perfected it in different ways. So each note relates to a star sign and a color. So I'm a Scorpio. My note is G, and my color is aqua blue, and this is my favorite color. And it's interesting because I spoke to a lady a little while ago, and I was saying about birth notes, and she said she was a Leo, and I said, Leo's are E and your color is yellow. So she said, oh, she said, you won't believe this, I bought a yellow car. And I said, well, there you go, you're in harmony with your soul frequency, your soul color. So it's interesting, the colors that attract you and the colors that don't. So I mean, I could go on and on and on. So for
let
me,
me hop in, Andrena, and just ask some questions, just to understand that. Like you, I love humming or sounding, because I find when you bring sound waves into your body, it kind of reassures you and it brings you into the present and you feel more embodied. Back to the soul tones and the chakras, and of what you said about different star signs of different colors and tones. What I've always understood is that we have a cell and we have a frequency to which all of our cells resonate to. Is that what you're talking about?
Excuse me. Yeah. So so when you start off, like you start from C all the way up to B. So it's like the notes on a piano. So like, I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer in any way, shape or form, but for me, it's helping people to bring the sounds out from within to strengthen the core of their being. So when you start at C, which is Aries and is red, you're starting from the root chakra upwards. So like I said, so you've got the red, and if you look at that little chart there, you've got C sharp, it's the sacral, and then you've got the solar plexus, and then you've got the heart, and then you've got the third eye, and so they're all in alignment. So for a lot of people, they're low in the lower end of the range, C sharp, D, because it's dealing with a lot of family issues, emotional issues, and everything is reflected in your voice. So you can hear when somebody's toxic, they've got a really gravelly voice, and I can't help sort of tune in my ears to different voices, if you like, and sometimes you can hear the emotion in people's voices, or like I can feel it. Like, some people don't have to speak it, I can just feel it coming from them. But You know, the more you tone and make sounds, and I mean, I always work with the vowels, but the stronger you are and the stronger you tone, it's bringing out your own strength, your own power, and it's helping you to heal those aspects in your body. So you're coming from a place of strength, not a place of need.
Yeah. So if I was to do the tones, is that a way for me to clear my chakras so that they're
Yeah.
expressing really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can do it with an intention. Obviously, when you know what notes need strengthening, because you know, I give you a bar chart showing you a color of your voice as it is now at that moment, and your voice changes all the time. So when you see the notes, when you see the ones that are low, those are the notes. Those are the notes that need strengthening and bringing back through to heal those issues. And I mean, if you know what's going on and you can address it, you can embrace it, you can write about it, or you can talk about it, it's helping to get it out of your system. I mean, there's so many different ways of clearing the body. You know, you've got EFT, theta, the emotions codes, and like I like working with the doTERRA essential oil. So when anybody comes, I've got like spearmint for the throat, and if they need a bit of calming, it's lavender. It's sort of bringing in bits and pieces to help people where they are now. But it's really funny because I had, was it, oh, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago now, I had a huge ding dong moment, and I worked with a guy and I did his voice and we were talking. And then he said, do you know what? I have a problem. I can't let my wife go or my girlfriend. I went, oh, lucky you. And, you know, we had a little laugh. So, and then I said, hang on a minute, what's their star signs? So he said, for example, Scorpio and Sagittarius. So I said, right, Scorpio is G, Saggy is G sharp. When I looked at his chart, he was missing both of those notes. So there is a bar chart that Jeff had put up whenever. But because he was missing both of those notes, when he's around his wife and his girlfriend, they've got the frequency or the note that he hasn't. So he's pulling off their energetic field from a place of need, because he needs that frequency, as opposed to a place of power where he's, you know, where he's strong in who he is, that he would have all his notes there. That makes sense?
It's fascinating, yeah. So if I'm a Virgo and my partner is a Sagittarius, would you be able to identify whether I had?
Yeah, well, when you know,
his energy. This is a push-pull thing, is it?
well, you know, like some people are really needy, you know, they need you all the time, and it's because you've got that frequency that they haven't. So that's where they're not coming from that place of power. And I worked with another couple a while ago, and she was very strong in the middle and he was weak on the outside, on the edges. And yet when I did his, he was strong on the edges and but low in the middle. So if you put the charts together, they complemented each other. They gave each other what they need. So they were in harmony. So that's the thing. You need to be coming from a, you know, place of harmony and not a needy place.
I was actually wondering about this because, you know, as kids, we all, especially as girls, we start off with fairly high-pitched voices, and you know, we walk past streets when kids are having birthday parties, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so squeaky. But then we end up the way we are. So we ourselves have actually gone through transformation of the pitch and the range at which we speak. Is that correct?
Sorry, so what was the last bit you said?
So we ourselves actually go through a journey of transformation where I guess we select the range that we're going to be operating at, which we identify with as we transition from childhood to adulthood.
And you attract what you need at the time. You know, different people around you obviously are triggers for different situations, you know, that you're not always, how can I put this in a nice way? Yeah, so people trigger you, and, you know, but it's your stuff that they're triggering. It's not them, but they're just reflecting back to you. So like we're all working through clearing, freeing ourselves up for all the, we have to look at all the triggers. So with the voice, so if I saw that your note was weak, then I would get you to tone that note, because that's like your voice print, your soul frequency, your soul tone. So I'll give you another example. One lady I worked with, and I said to her, "You're missing your birth note." Well, to me, that's the key, because that's trauma when you're coming into the earth. Sometimes it's trauma that you've brought in with you and you need to clear from past lives. So, and she was a Pisces, and that's the note of beast. So I said to her, that relates to your eyes, your ears, and things like that, and brain disorders, and I just went through the main things, and then she shared with me after that she had a brain tumor, and I thought, oh my God, that shocked me, because I thought, wow, it's just amazing that your voice reveals everything about you, and yeah, and it's powerful. So if you can, and I mean, it's like humming is brilliant. Now, if people have got children and they're hyperactive or running around, going mad, get them to play Dead Lions or bumblebees. Can't even say it. So get them to cover their ears and go because it's inner toning for their body, for their vibration. So it brings them back in, it calms them down, it balances. It's great. Like, if you've got a nursery full of kids, I'd have them all being bees and bringing them in.
Yeah, I still remember the first time we did these, one of our meditations. It was pretty amazing. And what's the lion exercise?
Oh no, Dead Lions, when you get them to play Dead Lions. But then you get...
Okay, that's what it sounds. You just lie there. I want to know how to play Dead Lions, Andrena. You got to show us.
But by getting them to be bumblebees, it calms them down, and then you can get them to play Dead Lions.
Oh, I see. So if I wanted to find out whether I'm missing my birth note, and I was to come to you for a session, what would that entail? How do you find out?
Well, I mean, I can do it over Zoom or whatever, but if Jeff can show the charts. So when you talk, and I need you talking for probably about a minute and a half, and then I do a snapshot of your voice, and then it starts from C all the way up the 12 notes. So it's like a piano. You need all those 12 notes to play your own beautiful tune. We're like an instrument. It's fine tuning your instrument all the time. I've lost my train of thought now. What was I talking about?
How do you take a snapshot of my voice?
Yeah, so that chart that's up on the screen now is somebody that shows the toxins. So while you're talking, I'm recording you on another little gadget, and it's picking up your voice. And then so one will be the toxins, so I can see where. If you see the chart there, it starts from C and goes to B, and that person, it's got a few toxins, but I can't really read it from here. But like the more toxic you are, it's obviously you need to start working with your body and eating better foods, and really being aware of what you're putting in, because you are what you eat. If you want to be healthy and vibrant, and you need to be aware of what you're eating, what you're drinking, and all the, the toxins are important, showing you like if it's in your colon or wherever. And then the next chart is the bar chart of from C to B, and you'll see it up and down. And if we look at another chart, hopefully, I'll show you on there where you can see that person's notes need strengthening. And it's like bringing them up higher to where they are, because obviously they'll be up and down, but when they're very low, they really need to strengthen. And that would be, if it's at the start, that's the lower chakra. So that's the issues we have to look at and address as we tone. Has he got it yet? excuse me. So yes, so once you see your bar chart, no, keep going. You'll see the notes in color and you'll see exactly what I mean. And then, like I say, the ones that need strengthening. So obviously I would look at, you know, you'd say your partner was a Virgo. So we would look at, I think that's D sharp. No, let me think. F, sorry. So if your F was up high, then you've got your note. So no, keep going. But anyway, this is all lovely pictures of showing all your chakras are linked to your organs. I mean, even your teeth, there's a chart, you know, I've got a chart of where a teeth is coming out, what that emotional issue is. You know, it's like your hands, all the, you know, they're all interlinked. They're all giving you another key to work with on your body to help you in different ways.
So the sound healing, Andrena, you do is more that you work with people to identify what they're missing or what they're overusing, and then you give them exercises to do that will strengthen those tones that they're basically missing in their range.
Yeah. So once they, you know, if you do it with your eyes shut and in attention, like I do it with you, if it's one-on-one, right? I want the color one, but that's another toxin one. Yeah, so when I work with you one-on-one, then we do it together, and then I get you to do it yourself. But what's important is getting people to come into their heart space, because first of all, when I work with people, they're in their head, they're toning from here, and you know, I have to gradually get them to relax and come down and come back to their heart. That's the important thing, because a lot of people are talking from here, not coming from the heart space. So, excuse me. So by toning, it's like an inner meditation, if you like. It calms you down, it quiets you down, and then if you can go through quite a few notes, it's like you don't need wacky backy, because all of a sudden you're sat there all spaced out. But it's the power of your own voice. You're healing yourself with your own voice. You know, there's no greater power than the voice. I mean, you know, you can hear when people come along and they got a squeaky voice, or they're, oh, I don't feel very well. You know the voice. As soon as somebody rings you, you know it's your mum or your sister, or you know, it's your voice recognition, and people pick up. That's the one, right? So yeah, so people pick up on you with your voice. So if you look at this person here, they're I think they're missing. Well, they're so low in C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E, right? So that is all the lower chakras. That's up to E, which is your lungs, and then obviously you've got your heart. So that person is like not coming from full power. They're only talking like from half strength, if you know what I mean. So it is so important to, and I think C sharp, which is the note of Taurus. I think, is that a 1 on there? I can't quite see it. But that one is the lowest that really needs strengthening. So I would take that person through, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. So I would play C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. But we would do tones to each of those notes. So, you know, as I'm playing C, then we're doing the tones to that. So it's a real healing exercise. And not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to go deeper. You know, it's choice whether it resonates with you. But I mean, anybody could, excuse me, anybody can do it. And another interesting was a lady on the Gold Coast, and she was a kinesiologist. And when I listened to her phone message, it was really like monotone. And I said to her, do you fancy doing a swap? Because I love kinesiology. But I said, but I can hear in your message you're missing notes from your voice. So I think, like, just for example, she was missing the first 3 notes, and that was where she was missing that vibrancy. So she had 3 children, and they were about 6, 8, and 10. And I said to her, can we do the children just to see what they're like? And they were all missing those 3 notes because they're not hearing it in her voice. They're not picking it up at all.
Oh, okay.
So she
where the generational stuff can happen. So my parents might have missed certain notes, so of course we copy them. And I have to admit, when I went to China, we speak fairly low. We're kind of serious people, but I was really amazed at sort of how the girls at that age spoke. They spoke in like a completely different octave. As far as I was concerned, it was really mind-boggling. But I just hadn't been exposed to it at all.
Mm. But yeah, so she went away and she downloaded the app, and so on the way to school they were all toning together. So I said, well, if you can get the children when they're younger to start doing to tone, and I know like toning for some would be boring, but if you could get them to tone and start bringing their notes through when they're younger, then they're not going to put up with half the things that we would have put up with in childhood, because they would be more in their own power and their own strength, and would be aware of boundaries and things. So I always think, well, if you can get them when they're younger, you're giving them a good start in life, like all things.
Yeah, I'd like to. So what is it that if they were to tone that they wouldn't put up with, that we have to put up with? What are you referring to, Andrena?
Oh gosh, all sorts of things. I think, I've worked with a lot of people that have been through abuse, emotional and physical. And because they're not strong in who they are, because if they need strengthening upon their notes, they're coming from like a place of lack, if you like. So they don't know how to stand up for themselves. They don't know how to speak out, and they don't know how to say, well, that's not appropriate, stop, or this can't go on, or and it's I even worked with a lady who keeps a radio on at night because she was still carrying the trauma of childhood memories, and she was an elderly lady, and she said, and I worked with her, and I tried to help her with her voice, but she said, I don't want to go there, it's too painful. And she was quite crippled up. And so she'd been carrying that in her energy field all of that time. So, there's so many different traumas for people, and it's reflected in the voice, but if you can get people to take that time. I mean, how many people sing these days? You don't hear people singing like you used to. And I know with all what's going on at the moment, but it's important if we sing, if we hum, if you've got a stomach ache, just lay on your bed and start humming and send that sound to your stomach. Do it with an intention. I mean, I've worked on people like toning directly into the body. So just say you've got an ache in your shoulder, and then I'd sort of cup my hands and then I tone into that spot for a few times, and then it's like you're dispersing it. So I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to tone, it doesn't cost you anything to hum. So these are things that you can do and practice. And if you sit there and start quietly and start toning, then you're aware of the power, you're aware of that strength coming through, and so it's like you're radiating inwardly, outwardly, if you know what I mean. So then that way your aura is stronger, and you've got a better energetic field around you because you're coming from that place of power. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I know for a fact that I take people into DNA cellular healing, and once the mind tunes into the cells are they respond immediately. They're just so happy to get that presence and attention. They're just like thrive completely. So you mentioned cells, talking about cells, and you mentioned toxins that they affect the frequencies that we generate internally, or that flow through us internally, adversely. So over time, what toxins have you had to strip out of your diet to make sure that you have the full range?
Oh God!
Everything give up now.
How long have we got? Oh gosh,
Maybe you must be the ones that would surprise us. Not the obvious ones. Like
the main one is the colon. Yeah, put that down. Is that coffee or wine?
Here's wine. The colon, right? So what does the colon not like?
Well, that is on sort of C sharp, no C. So, like when I first started, my lower end with joy was C sharp, D, excuse me, D sharp, and D sharp. If you have too much sugar, affects diabetes. And I've given people warnings. And I said, you're missing the note of D or D sharp. You really need to be aware of what you're eating. Do you like chocolate? Love it. Well, I said, time to stop, time to cut down, time to go on to a lower sugar, or find like dates or something like that that's going to give you a bit of sweetness. So you're not looking for the sweetness outside of yourself. You know, you're getting it from here. But so I did a 3-month colon cleanse, which is very gentle, and it's like herbs, and that clears out all the parasites in your body, the worms, and you can see them in your what comes out the other end. You know, if you look, you can see little ones. So that was a real big toxin cleanse for me. I had a friend who hang on, I can't think what it's called. Anyway, she did coffee enemas all the time, years and years ago. And she used to say to me, and I thought, well, I'm not doing that. There's no way you're going to get me doing that. And yet I've been blessed to meet so many people that are really health conscious, that have helped me and in different ways, and I've helped them and what have you. So I did the colon cleanse, and then I was introduced to doing the coffee enemas, which that was a challenge on some levels. But anyway, I did it. But my God, did I feel so clear afterwards? I don't know if you've ever done one, but it was just amazing. I felt so lightheaded and clear. I could feel it in my stomach. But I also, when I lived in Glastonbury, I lived with a lady called Jenny, and she did colonics, funny enough. And that was my first introduction to them. But she did it with sound. So when you know your tummy fills up with the water, and then they press the button to release it all. So when it's all coming out the other end, you're giving it your expression. Excuse the expression, but you're giving your shit a voice. So it's like you're sounding it out of your, and it was so powerful. And yeah, that was amazing. So it, you know, if you can do colonics to clear your gut, because your gut health, you know, your poo is there in your stomach, layer upon layer upon layer. And if you don't clear it out as well, it causes toxins, and it, you know, that could come out in so many different ways of your body. So it's important to have do your colon cleanse every now and again. And if you want to do enemas, then coffee enemas, and I think there are other sorts. I mean, I'm not really investigated that, but that was one thing that really helped clear toxins out, but also really being aware of what you're putting in and your diet. And since I've left Australia, my diet has been, talk about opposite ends of the scale, because all the lovely fresh fruit you could pick, and avos, and you know, the mangoes and papayas here, I bought them, and there's no smell, and honest to God. So my diet and my stomach has gone through quite a few different changes since I've been here, but I'm getting the balance better now. Yeah, so, but yes, just if you can do a colon cleanse, and I can give you details if anybody wants to know about that. That is really powerful, and it's gentle. So that's one main thing I would say. What else? But yeah, that was the main thing. But also your digestive, which is all, you know, which is all the lower organs. This is where C sharp and D, root, sacral, and solar plexus are. You know, it's all in the gut area. So it's, you know, if you start cleaning all this out and getting it right, then it sort of reflects as you go up, like, you know. And then one other lady I worked with, talk about naive. I did her voice, and the note of G, she was a Scorpio, and the G was so toxic. And I said to her, look, I'm not a medical trained person, but I've got alarm bells. There's something going on in your throat that you need to follow it through. So anyway, when we finished, then she said, all right, I'm just going out to have a smoke now. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't even think of smoking, you know, but it was really, you know, I don't know whether she did anything about it in the end, but yeah.
Okay. But that, thanks for sharing that, because that helps me understand more as to what the skill is, because, you know, a toxic note, I know in Tai Chi and Qigong, when we're trying to explain to students which area of their body they're meant to be moving energy within, we will often use tones. And when they do it, then we focus on that area and we listen to that, or we can feel it. And that's obviously what you're doing, because you don't have the tone be toxic if the tone is a certain frequency. So that really helps me understand that. One of the things that Jeff actually, you know, has on his wall is the Celestine prophecies, which I know a lot of us have read.
Yeah.
Celestine insights. So the first three are: we're discovering again that we live in a deeply mysterious world full of coincidences, synchronicities that seem destined. As most of us awake to this mystery, we create a completely new worldview, redefining the universe as energetic and sacred. We discover that everything around us, all matter, and this is where you work, obviously, is the sound, consists of and stems from a divine energy that we're beginning to understand. And the problem is that many humans feel insecure and disconnected from this sacred energy. So when somebody comes to you with that, sort of like, you know, sort of what is it you would recommend them to tone? And we obviously have more chakras than the 7.
Well, yeah.
Recommend if somebody wants to say, I want to really be reconnected to that divine sacred energy, and Jeff just showed that picture, you know, the rainbow colors and all that, the stimulus.
Yeah, well, we are rainbows. We are like a frequency. We are, you know, we're vibrational frequencies of energy, of color, of sound, of shapes. So, like, one of the things, this is like my little.
That's huge. I've already got little ones. It's too weeny compared to yours.
I don't mess about.
Tell me about this one. She's got a giant tuning fork.
Now, this is another story. This is a 111. So, have you heard of the Solfeggio frequencies?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, like you've got 963, 963, 8. Hang on a minute, I got to get. Anyway, they all go down in number order, and in between each number, between like the 258 and the 369 and the 4 and the 5 is 111. So that I'm not going any further than that, but if you look at everyone is a 111, and that's another. Yeah, this is a 111. So I'll give you a tune. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Right. So if everybody closes their eyes, I'll do it, and then I've got a 528 here somewhere. Should be on the top. Hold on. No, it's gone AWOL. Right. So just close your eyes again, and see if you can feel the frequency going. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be a harmonizing one. You know, everything kind of just settles back in order.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you can put it on different parts of the body. I know I've taken them with a couple of the grandchildren, and they like to have a little bash. But yes, but yeah, you can just make any sound. Like obviously, if you know the note that needs strengthening, and this is where I give you the chart. then you can work on those notes and strengthen them, and then you can come back and we can have a look where you're at, you know, so many weeks later. But obviously you need to look at the emotional issues, because C is all about your general circulation, your colon, back area. So, you know, it's all, each note, each color, each chakra is working up through the body. So, you know, like where F is a Virgo is heart issues, Leos are lungs, Scorpios are the throat. So sound and frequency is just amazing. I mean, you know, you get opera singers that can hit such a pitch that they smash a glass. It just disintegrates, because they're in that same resonance, that same frequency. So yeah, so it's just amazing. I mean, it's, you can just tone away. You can, I mean, I've got a little shruti box here, or it's called Swahas. I have a big shruti box, but because of lockdown and everything, all my stuff is in storage. So this is my mini one. Hang on. So I've got the notes along the top there. So so I can play a note of C. Right, how loud is that? Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right, so if you closed your eyes, and if anybody wants to go through this exercise, close your eyes and we're going to do A, E, I, O, U, okay? So just close your eyes and I'll do it with you. Let's put this down. Right, so we're going to take a deep belly breath in and we're going to go, hang on. Deep belly breath and E. I.
Not too loud.
Now you. So if you sit in that space for a few seconds with your eyes closed. Now there are a few more that I add to it. So that's just, oops. Right, so could you hear it? Could you feel it? Could you sense if you were coming? Obviously, I'm putting you on the spot here, but were you feeling like, you know, because sometimes I'll go, hey, and it's wobbly, and then I keep doing it, and then it comes through stronger and longer. So, but it's practice, and it's getting your breath right. It's, you know, like filling up your tummy like a balloon, because the longer the breath, the longer the tone. You know, like if you're doing short ones, you need to really practice on your breathing to get a deeper, which is healing your body anyway, because you're oxygenating your body.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important.
So that's the sort of exercise that we would do. Like I would play C, and we would do tones. We'd do another 3 to those, and then you feel yourself dropping down. You feel yourself relaxing. As soon as I do that, I can feel myself just coming into that space. So I should be a authentic teacher. Practice what I preach.
We have a question here from Maria Teresa. She says, I am an Aries, would always see help me.
Yeah. Because if you, I mean, I think there are different apps where you could probably download the tones. I mean, I've got mine on, I think it's £5 for, I do an introduction, and then there's 12 tracks. There's the C up to B. So people can just, with the introduction, I go through all the vowels and I tone. So that would give you an introduction to know what you do. And then you can go through the rest of them. But what I say to people, if you're going for an interview, if you're going for presentation or something like that, either wear the color that's right for you because you're in harmony with your color, and then tone that note before you go in the car. But if you don't know the note, just tone, just do your vowel sound, just bring out sounds. Sometimes the sounds might come out and they're not very nice. And, you know, if you've got like, say a stomach ache and it's giving you grief, give your stomach a voice and say, right, I'm going to let some sounds out to release what's going on within my body. So, you know, you don't have to have the exact note, but if you want to know where you need to strengthen yourself, then it's ideal. But if you don't know, just practice away, just tone, do the vowels, make sounds. And if you can do it with your eyes closed and with an intention, you'll just feel it within you. You'll know it's working, but you know, you've got to give yourself permission to use your voice. Because when I talk to people and say what I do, and they go, "Oh my God, what can you hear in my voice?" Or "I can't sing." They're terrified of their voice, but our voice is our greatest gift. If you can't talk, hello, you know. So it's so important to keep your tune up. I mean, and I know, like when I landed from Australia at Christmas, I got knocked with a virus, and I'm not sure what it was. I had to see all health and doctors and what have you, and it's taken me a couple of months to pick myself up. And I tried to do the tones, but because I was so unwell, it just didn't happen. But as soon as I started to feel a bit better, and then I could just do a little bit and then build myself up to bring that power back, because I just got like wiped out when I hit England. So it's, you know, it's not for everybody, but if you can find the time and it's for you, this is the core of who you are. This is your soul. This is your frequency, your vibration. And, you know, it's helping people be the best version of themselves so they can help others in different ways to do the same.
Oh, thank you. So I've just had a light bulb moment while you were talking. We were looking at that chart because I tend to be very visual. So, and you know, most women, and I think Jeff today as well, when we choose our clothes, we choose the color that we think will support us. But so looking at that chart again, what you're saying is, yes, we have the color, but that frequency, that sound, if we're sounding them, that is actually the frequency of that color. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And they say that we're all from, you know, everything comes from light, white light, and then you've got the divine rays and the different frequencies. So by practicing those tones, which we might not generally, we're actually allowing those color and the frequencies to flow through us.
Yeah, because each cell is a frequency, and if you're toning, you know, you're sending those lovely sounds to your different cells in your body. So, you know, each organ's got a different frequency. But if you just do the main ones and just start toning, you're healing yourself naturally. You don't need any other thing. You know, obviously it's, you know, I take stem cell nutrition. I take all sorts of vitamin C, zinc, you know, a few other things to keep me topped up, because I want to be the best version of me to help others be the best version of themselves. So, you know, it's important to be an inspiration and walk your talk. That, you know, that's how I see it.
And you mentioned an app that you can do which takes you through the tones?
Yeah, it's on my website.
It's on your website?
No, I'm not that technical. I might get... I have enough problems every time trying to do an app. But I'm a very hands-on... Now, there's a willing volunteer there where I do say to people, would you like me to fork you? Now, that usually sets off a laugh. But, you know, this is bringing... Just wait for me to stick. It's bringing things back into balance, back into harmony. And, you know, all illnesses are blocked emotions, and we don't realize you know, our thinking, what creates negativity and issues we have. You know, I look at, like, there's a couple books I like that lists all the different, like your split thumbnail, what that relates to, and I'll look at it. If I've got something going on, I think, oh my God, so I need to address that and work with that, or tone it and deal with it. So
yeah, so we've just got Greg Williams on, who will be our guest next week, and he's a brilliant acupuncturist. He teaches acupuncture, so he's saying sounds vibrate different mixtures of elemental qi and qigong channels to break up and clear sick qi. You mentioned this yourself, that you're quite sensitive to dissonance, and I think anybody who works with energy, you know, the Reiki people and the psychics and all that, we kind of all unconsciously we register frequencies that are not healthy, and but from a physics point of view, the view is actually that you can counter a dissonance by sending through a wave that will rectify it or cancel it out. Do you address that in sort of when you're working with a client, apart from telling them what they're missing, they need to practice?
No, what they need to strengthen.
Sorry, what needs to strengthen? Do you ever sort of deal with stuff in the aura or dissonances that you find when you use a tuning fork, it's gone? Something might have cleared?
Yeah, because another example was one lady. Now she spoke in the most strange squeaky voice I've ever heard, and when she rang me up to say that she needed help, and I could hear in her voice, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on with this lady? So anyway, when we worked together, in a nutshell, she was talking from here. And that was why she was so high pitched. She wasn't in her heart. And when we looked at the issues and we talked about it, and I gave her a sound bath and toning and what have you, when we hit the nail on the head, so to speak, it turned out to be a past life where she was. I can't remember what happened to her now, but she couldn't go down in her heart. She was here. She was terrified to be in a heart space, and I can't remember it all because it was a while ago now. But when we addressed the situation, and I said about, you know, you were, whatever happened to you, you were afraid to speak up and come from this space, and then the next thing, she just burst in tears and she just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And because she said she had a fiance, but she couldn't really connect with him. And anyway, she went home after this, and I could see the transformation because she dropped into her heart space. She'd allowed, you know, worked through that issue. And then she messaged me about a week later and said, thank you so much. She said, her and her fiance were going to break up. Anyway, they're not, and they were going to buy a house. And she said that transformed everything because she could get into her heart, which she hadn't ever been able to do, like, you know. So I just never know what's going to happen for people. I just hold that space and watch them or talk with them and just allow, you know, they come out with their own blockages without even realizing sometimes.
It's so inspirational.
And there's lots of, I mean, like here, I know, like I did a workshop years ago, and you can go yam, ham, and if you close your eyes and you do it deeply, you can feel it in your body. You can feel the resonance working through. So, yeah, I did a workshop with Ms. Murray in Glastonbury donkeys years ago now, and we did all these, and you know, you could really feel the vibration when you did it that way. So, you know, there's so many different little techniques to try out, but just tone, get your kids toning, making sounds, and just hum. Like humming is brilliant. but you're lifting your vibration, you're taking yourself up. And I know sometimes it's hard because with different things that are going on in people's lives, you don't want to sing. But a lot of the time, once you start toning, it will bring up your grief, it will bring up your sadness. And often, like, there's different times when things have troubled me and I start toning, and then up comes the sadness and up comes the tears, and woo, but you're clearing it, and then you feel better afterwards because you've done that clearing. So it's so powerful.
Yeah, you're putting energies in motion.
Yeah,
in motion.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I'm like a one woman band. I've got a huge gong, and my God, that that clears out. You can't hold on to anything when you lay in that space because it's like, psh, and it just whooshes right through you.
I do remember your gong. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that gong is something else, I tell you. And the poor thing is in storage. Anyway, we'll worry about that. There will be a time soon when we can get it out and move on. So
I've got a photo currently there with your harp, by the looks of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of harping on, what are you doing?
Yeah. Now I can harp on with my harp. I used to go to a hospice and let people just play it themselves if they could, or I did it over them. And you know, and it's funny because one lady I went and she was 97 and she was a musician and she was over the moon. She said, "Oh my God," she said, "you're like a blessing," she said. And so she sat there and she strummed away and she just loved it. And you could see the difference in her vibration. You know, it's like clearing out the cobwebs. You know, the sounds are just clearing in different ways. So yeah, I'm missing all my instruments. So thankfully, I got my little fork.
Little big fork. Still got fork every.
Yeah, I've got a 5-2. What have you got there then? What one is that?
These are the Starquest ones. The I think they're like 1,300. They're Divine Goddess, Divine Light. They're basically Archangel Michael. This one, Divine Will, like the Metatron. So yeah. I do have a piece of paper which says what frequency they're in, but they're pretty high ones.
But yeah, I mean, they're powerful. And if you do them on your ears, you can hear it clearing through and, you know, your different organs. And I just love all my sound bits and pieces. You know, like I can hear a wind chime and it's like, oh, where's that sound coming from? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the film August Rush.
Oh, the boy was adopted, isn't he? And he listens to the music, goes to the theatre, and
yeah. Oh, no, don't tell people.
No. But he ran the wrong way, isn't it? He's the prodigy. He's the prodigy.
Yeah. If you can watch August Rush, and it's probably about, oh my God, about 12. Might be about 12 years old. I'm not quite sure, but when I was in Australia with my friend Beth, and she said, "Have you seen August Rush?" I said, "No." She said, "Will it make you cry?" I went, "Oh, all right." Well, I think I've watched it 5 times with her, and every time the tears just flowing down. So, like, it's another way of clearing out some more cobwebs. But it's a beautiful film. I love it. I mean, yeah. So that's a good one. You know, that's about sound and vibration because he can hear the sounds and how he puts them together, and in his head he'll hear the train tracks going, and he'll hear clattering of cars going over bumps in the road, and all these different sounds and vibrations. So yeah, I love that movie. I watch it every now and again. But yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah, in operating theatres, they got gallbladders. They had the stones and so forth, and kidney stones. They were using sound vibration to break them up.
Yeah, they're going to be using it for what is it, Alzheimer's as well, to break up the plaque in neurons. UQ's working with that.
Yeah,
because like in the beginning there was the sound. That was the first thing. Before light, there was sound.
But yeah, if you've got, like, you know, if your partner's got something wrong with their arm or something, just do some tones in, because it's a frequency. You know, there's all different things you can do, but just tone into somebody's back. I know in one workshop we did, when we finished, I had everybody in a circle and we all toned for the heart. So everybody, because it was going round, that sound was going round each person, and it was beautiful. They just loved it. You just toned with an intention, and the sound was just going round and round.
That's exactly like that clip in the movie As It Is in Heaven, where their choir master's gone because he's having a heart attack and they don't know what to do, but they just start phoning, and it just sounds absolutely gorgeous in the end.
But I don't know if you've got the track, Jeff, of the crickets, because something funny last night. I was really tired. I thought I need to go to bed early, and as I switched off the light, all of a sudden I heard go past my, oh flip, there's a bloody mozzie in here. So obviously I can't stay in bed with him buzzing around, or he would have eaten me. So anyway, couldn't find him. So I got my sister up here and we're moving everything about, and we got him in the end. And I thought, oh, that reminds me of the crickets being played, and when it's speeded up, it's a choir of angels. And I thought, yeah, thank you, Mozzie, for the give me a message last night. But yeah, so if you play the track, it's the crickets, and when they're speeded up, it's a choir of angels singing. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Can you hear that?
No.
Hang on. Just a sec. Sorry about that. Oh, there you go. That's the problem.
No. So, like, you know, insects, animals, all got different sounds, different frequencies, different vibrations. So also, if you're missing somebody, or you could be missing the frequency of their voice. So it could be that note again that you're missing. So it's bringing that note into strengthening it. So you're not missing from a needy place.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it? So it's quite an amazing thing that's just happening on this planet, and maybe there's a silver lining in everything, in the sense that if you have a look in the background to where I'm sitting, and you'll see that stream of water there, and those cattle coming down to have a drink in the farmland. Maybe this is all about a reset, and realizing that don't have to get caught up in capitalism and buying stuff and get a job in order to live, or is it live to work, all these things. And just listening to them crickets is taking that time out from what we've been doing for these last 40 years, you know. We're now sort of saying, well, hang on a sec, do we need to do that? Well, maybe the simple things in life are very important. I mean, that's a very powerful piece of music there from Crickets, isn't it?
Mm. Amazing.
I know.
Yes.
I started the show off with Mr. Spock pointing out that, you know, the message is not for humans, but maybe it's a message for other life forms. And of course, that was the message in itself, talking to the whales. So, you know, the ability to talk to animals, that's a gift in itself.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing to do that. I mean, I've been so blessed on my journey in so many ways. But I have swam with whales and I have swam with dolphins, and oh my God, it's the most amazing experience of my life, or one of them. Um, and like dolphins, you know, they sonar you. I mean, my very first experience was in Hawaii with dolphins, and it was about 24 hours before I could come back into my body. I'd got sonared so much being around them. You know, everybody was doing all sorts of things to bring me back in, but I was just totally gone. It was, you know, it just, that's right.
To bring a dolphin in for you.
But yeah, I mean, you know, and you can go on YouTube and you can play the dolphin sounds. I mean, I just love hearing the sounds and the whales. I mean, I was on one whale trip. You know, we go for a week from Harvey Bay, and at night, you know, you just be sat around and then you'd hear this going past, and oh my God, it was magic. And you know, when you see their eyes and you come up and they look at you, it's like, well, you can't buy it, you know. It's just, you know. So I mean, you know, hopefully I'll be able to do that again. Who knows? You know, I didn't expect to be back in England quite so soon, but my intuition was to get back by Christmas, and it was so strong. But now I can see with the lockdown and all what's going on, and I've had the chance to be around my family. I've spent more time with my family and the little ones. Unfortunately, when I landed, I was with my son and the two little ones. Well, I was ill for weeks, so I wasn't much good company. But anyway, but yeah, so an amazing journey. You just never know where life's going to take you and what's mapped out for you, you know, but you have to keep positive, keep going, keep working through issues or irritations and find out what's going on and deal with
keep channeling those frequencies and unblocking the rest.
Yeah. And it's a journey. We're all on a journey. We're all going through different stuff, different layers. And I mean, you know, like when we go around the shops, or like this lovely place called Magpie Bottom that I've been going to, and we talk to everybody. And even if I'm on my own, I go, hello, how are you? Some people will ignore you, and that's fine. Some people are talking. You know, I've had different people start talking and then they're sharing all sorts of things with you. So it's just helping people to open up, but just by talking to them. Don't matter if you know them or no. It's just important to speak to people to, you know, because like you don't know what's going on in a person's life.
I hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
That's important.
Okay, so if our listeners now, present or future, thank you for listening. If you want to get in touch with Andrena and get a private consult, Andrena, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can do it through my website, which is www.soultone.com. No, hang on. It was .com. I've changed it to soultone.co.uk.
Just ahead of you, he's written it down.
All right, okay. And I've got a Facebook page, Soultone Voice Empowerment. Or you can email me, Andrena@Soultone. Yeah, any of those. Oh, look, it's 11:11.
Oh, you have your way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, my way.
Yeah, and we've got the master numbers, Greg and Maria, with us as well.
Yeah, and I'm an 11:11, so.
All right, well, that's the sign. Everybody into that light beam. Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you play it again so we can hear what was said?
So, was there anything that we should have asked you that you would like to have spoken about?
No, I think I've rabbited on quite enough.
So people can just get hold of you, soultone.co.uk.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's a private session, and the private session, you do it through Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. How do you?
Zoom or any of those. I mean, I will do when we can come out and play. I will do, but I am thinking of setting up doing a Zoom workshop of taking people through tones. So it's going to be like a choir of tones. So I just got to work out how to do it. So that's another story. But yeah, I just thought if I got a group of, I don't know, so many people, 10, 12, whatever, and I played that note and got them all to tone with intention, etc., just to see how it would work for them through Zoom. So, I mean, it should work, shouldn't be a problem. But I thought I'd give it a try and see how that would work. So I'm going to,
Sure, yeah.
So I'm going to set up a choir of tones.
You might have to go and record all them ducks and birds that are down the Magpie Lane, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Andrena, for sharing all your rich knowledge and experience with us. That's been very inspiring, and I will be detoxifying and practicing the tones.
Oh, it's been lovely talking with you both and catching up, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to sound on a bit.
And thank you to our listeners. And next week we will have Greg Williams, who is the author of Awakening the Chi Within You, joining us in the same time slot, 7 p.m. EST. So hop onto Radio FM 88. Obviously, apart from this talk shows and a few others that Jeff does, Radio FM 88 is playing 24 hours, right, Jeff? And
yeah, 24 hours. It's all music from around the world. Yeah. I mean, people wouldn't realise how that came about, but I will give it in the sense that I just had an out-of-body experience, and I was standing out in space looking at this little blue orb called planet Earth. And there's a gentleman standing next to me, and he had his white robes, and he had a conductor baton, and he was telling me, Jeff, we're bringing in the music from all the stellar worlds onto the planet. The planet is a school, and every country is a classroom, and we're here to speed up the development of humanity through music and frequencies. Yeah. So, and the game plan was not only in the speeding up of humanity, it was the role of humanity years and eons time to be midwives to another stellar system. It's all part and parcel of the process. I suppose it's a bit of shades of 2001 Space Odyssey, touching the obelisk, going through.
Well, everyone, thank you very much, and keep on dreaming the dream and living the dream. All right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right.
Thank you.
Bless you all. Thank you, June.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So